Well, this is like you're getting all the goss from me today. The point is, I tend not to read the questions, is what we're learning. There's definitely a difference between what the test says and what happens on the road. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, I am Yvette and I moved to the UK in May last year, and I'm documenting my experiences. One of my experiences has been driving in the UK. So, for those who don't know, if you're Australian, because we drive on the same side of the road and have same rules, you can drive for up to a year in the UK on an Australian driver's license, and then after a year you send your passport, BRP, and that's it in the form, to the DVLA. What is it? DVLA? DVSA, I think, is what yours are. Ours is called the RTA, and I think the Americans is DMV. They love our acronyms. And then you exchange it for a British driving license. So I don't actually need to do a traditional, theory and practical test. Now, I've already been driving, I haven't had any crashes, I haven't had any tickets, so I can only assume this video will go well. So I thought it would be fun to do a driving theory test to see how well I go testing myself on here. I will say, the way you get your license in Australia is that you have to do your theory test, that gives you your L plates, and then you do 120 hours of driving, and 20 of them have to be at night or in the rain, but they can't promise the rain because Australia, so they have to give it all nighttime to give you proper conditions, and you have to have a logbook, and then after 120 hours, you can go for your Ps, and you have to do a driving test. So that's like where the person sits next to you and you go practical drive around town. And then after a year on your red Ps, you get your green Ps and you sit at a hazard perception exam, which is where the screen has a video. I failed my hazard perception exam, which I didn't fail. I know how to drive. I've never had an accident. I've had a ticket, but I've never done anything reckless. Listen, okay, rant time. Well, this is like you're getting all the goss from me today. I used to need glasses. I used to be clinically blind. I was -7 prescription, so I couldn't see the ground, I couldn't see the speedometer, I needed glasses. I got LASIK, so now I have 20/20 vision. I had got pulled over for a random breathalyzer test, which they make you talk into a thing, and it tells you whether you've been drinking or not. I've never drunk and drive in my life, so I got pulled over for this thing. I passed the alcohol test, but on my license it said I needed glasses because my account hadn't been updated to say that I had LASIK. So she gave me a ticket for £150. I'm translating for you, it was in Australia. This is all in Australia, by the way. And so then I went to my optician. I did a sight test and I got him to write a letter saying she's had LASIK, I did a sight test, she has 20/20 vision, she was not doing anything reckless, there was no law broken. That wasn't good enough for them. I had to go to the RTA, which is the DVLAS thing, and I had to get them to write a letter that there was an admin error that caused the license to have the wrong thing. So either way, they ended up not fining me. But point is, even though I was able to prove I could see, they were still willing to fine me. What's the point of a fine if not to discourage reckless behavior? So if you can identify that I have not done anything reckless because I can in fact see, why am I still being punished? This is what's where people either revenue raising or just bureaucratic rubbish to a fault. Anyway, either way, I have a lot of feelings about that. Didn't mean to make this a rant video, but here we are. Point is, I've done a theory test before. I had to do it for getting my Ls. I passed first time, no dramas. That said, I'm sure all the drivers who are watching this video will know that there is definitely a difference between what the test says and what happens on the road. For example, I don't think I've ever seen anyone stop at a stop sign for a full 3 seconds. 1 hippopotamus, 2 hippopotamus, 3. No one does that. Will I still be able to pass the test even though I am very well? I've been driving, how old am I? I've been driving for over 12 years. I've been on the road for 12 years, so I think I know my stuff. If I've gotten this far without ever having any accidents and or tickets that were my fault and not completely rubbish, I was gonna swear, don't swear, don't get demonetized. When I was trying to set this up, I was trying to find the official site, and this is the one that was linked through the YouGov website. So hopefully this is the correct place to do your test, but either way, this is what we're going to do. So what should you do when you're joining a motorway? Slow to a stop. That's nothing more dangerous than stopping before you're trying to merge. Stop at the end of the acceleration lane. Also not great, really bad and dangerous. Give way to traffic already on the motorway. Yes. And use the hard shoulder. I think you should be giving way to traffic on the motorway. It's not even going to tell me. This is good to see me fail at the end. On a 3-lane motorway, which lane did you normally use? On a 3, see, for some reason, because I've driven in America and other places on the other side of the road, so I get my my roads mixed up. So you want to be on the left lane, don't you? You don't want to be on the right. Left lane is for slow cars, so you should always be in the left. Keep left unless overtaking. What basic rule applies when you're using a motorway? Keep to the left-hand lane unless overtaking. What I just said. Use the lane that has the least traffic. Try and keep above 50 miles an hour to prevent congestion. Well, I think we all do that, but that's not the rules. Overtake on the side that's clearest. No, keep to the left hand unless overtaking. I had a friend who was like an 18-year-old. His parents were like quite well off. He was like his dad owned a law firm. And that's the kind of money we're talking. So he had a very swanky sports car, and a cop pulled him over and gave him a ticket for not keeping left, which I think was definitely just like putting like a young bratty kid in his place, you know. What should I do going through a contraflow system on a motorway? I think exceed it, don't go at speed, keep a good distance, switch lanes to keep the factor to that. Stay close to the vehicle ahead to reduced queues. Definitely not those two. Is it speed? I don't know. I guess the speed one, because then it, like, why would distance change? Must be the speed, because realistically you should always keep a good distance, so why would that change? You're using a smart motorway. What happens when it's operating? I don't know what a smart motorway is. That's new. Speed limits. The national speed limit will apply. Speed limits above lanes are advisory. You must obey the speed limit shown. The speed limit is always 30 miles. I think you show, I think so. Smart, okay, I know what a smart one, I have seen them, I just didn't know that was what it's called. I assume that's the one that has the screen where the speed limit changes. I saw it change the other day, which was very cool. I'm gonna say obey the speed limit that's in front of you. Seems like common sense to me. You're traveling alone on a motorway and feel tired. Where should you stop to rest? On a slip road, at the nearest service area, on the hard shoulder, or in the central reservation. The nearest service centre, because that's what they're designed for. Get coffee and caffeine up. You shouldn't normally travel on a hard shoulder of a motorway. When can you use it? When a sign directs you to, when traffic is stopped, when taking the next exit, when traffic is slowly moving. Maybe I don't know what a hard shoulder is. I think it's when you're taking the next exit. Like if that's the bit that, I think, yeah, that makes sense. I know what it is. It's like basically like taking the exit. Yeah, oh my god, that means the last one someone's stopping in that? Oh my god. You're driving on a motorway and you have to slow down quickly due to a hazard ahead. How can you warn drivers behind of the hazard? Switch on your hazard warning lights. Flash your headlights, sound your horn, switch on your headlights. Well, if it's behind you, your headlights aren't going to do anything. Horn is like, this isn't Egypt, we're not using the horn. Headlights is also behind you, so I guess hazard warning lights. What should you do immediately after joining a motorway? Try to overtake, readjust your mirrors, position your vehicle in the center lane, keep in the left-hand lane. I'm triggered by all the bad drivers. Which of these isn't allowed to travel in the right-hand lane of a 3-lane roadway? A motorcycle and a sidecar. I'll be honest, that's never been an issue in Australia. A small delivery van, a motorcycle, a vehicle towing a trailer. I would say a vehicle towing a trailer because they have to go slower, so they always go in the left lane. You're in a motorway, there's a contraflow system ahead. What would you expect to find? Lower speed limits, wider than lanes and normal, speed humps, temporary traffic lights. Lower speed limits. Well, I really don't know. You're towing a trailer along a 3-laned motorway when may use the right-hand lane, when there's a lane closure. When you maintain a high speed, when there's a large vehicle area, when there are large vehicles in the left and center lanes, when there's slow moving traffic, when the lane is closed. I think it's definitely not the first one. They're never going to condone speeding. Large vehicles in the left and center lanes, I don't think that's such a unique system, they're not going to do that. Slow moving traffic, they don't want you to jump around, so only when there is a lane closed. On a motorway, there are red flashing lights above every lane. What must you do? Our motorways don't have any like electrics on them, if that makes sense. Like we have speed cameras, that's about it. Leave at the next exit, slow down and watch for further signals, pull onto the hard shoulder, stop and wait. I'd say slow down and wait for further signals. That's what I would do because I don't know what I'm doing. Which vehicles are prohibited from using the motorway? Ooh. Double-decker buses, cars with automatic transmission. I drive an automatic, so I know that one's not right. Motorcycles over 50cc, powered mobility scooters. Surely it's the powered mobility scooters, come on. I was gonna say double-decker buses before I saw that, but no. You're towing a trailer on a motorway. What's the speed limit for the car towing the trailer? Cool. I'm gonna say 40, because that's the lowest. I have no idea, I don't tow trailers. Traffic officers operate on the motorway and in some primary routes in England. What are they authorised to do? Stop and arrest drivers who break the law, stop and direct anyone on a motorway, repair broken down vehicles on the motorway, issue fixed penalty notices, so giving you a speeding fine. Your car gets punctured while you're driving on the motorway, you get into a hard shoulder, what should you do? Only change the wheel if you have a passenger to help you, try and wave down another vehicle for help, use the emergency telephone and call for help, carefully change the wheel yourself. They must get so many people using the emergency phone. You're driving on the motorway by mistake, you go past the exit you want to take, what should you do? Carefully reverse on the hard shoulder, make a U-turn at the gap at the central reservation, carry on to the next exit, carefully reverse in the left-hand lane. That's so bad. I'd say make a U-turn at the next central reservation, if it's legal. If not, you just take the next exit. No, you say carry on to the next exit. Next exit, and then you can get back on. Yeah, it's that one. Oh my god, so sorry. Unless signs show otherwise, what's the national speed limit for the car on the motorway? I should know this. I think it's 50. 50. I honestly don't know, but 50 is quite fast. A vehicle breaks down on a hard shoulder of a motorway. You need to use your mobile phone to call for help. What should you do? Open the bonnet so the emergency services know you've broken down. Check the location for the marker's post on the left. Stand at the rear of the vehicle when making the call. Phone a friend and ask them to come collect you. So check your location so you know where you are to tell them. What does this mean? I don't know. Oh, I think I got my answer right though, because that's 30 things. I think it's a contraflow system because that's what they asked me the whole thing before. What does this mean? Parking in 1 mile. Distance to parking place ahead. What does this traffic sign mean? Oh, I can't read it. Compulsory maximum, compulsory minimum, advisory maximum, advised separation distance. That is a compulsory maximum. Do not do more. Your vehicle is stationary. When may you use its horn? When another road user poses danger, when the road is blocked by queuing traffic, when it is only used briefly, when signalling that you've arrived. So, danger, obviously. What does this mean? Bikes and buses. No buses and cycles allowed. With flow, I actually have no idea. With flow, bus and cycle lane. No waiting for bus and cycles. Contraflow buses. What is a contraflow? This keeps coming up. No wait. What is this no waiting? I don't think it's no waiting. I think it's with flow. Because otherwise it'd be more of like an X, I imagine, or a red. What information should be shown on a triangle thing? It should be, not what I was gonna say. Minimum, no. Keep left, ahead only, narrow roads. What? Oh my gosh, I have no idea. Jeez, I thought I was gonna say give way. Narrow roads? Because minimum speed? Let's go narrow roads because it's kind of like a triangle. What speed limit is often found on the narrow residential streets? 20 miles an hour. What does this sign mean? The minimum speed limit is 30, no vehicles over 30 tons. New speed limit, 20 miles an hour. End of 20 mph speed zone. I think that's that one, but I cannot be sure. You're on a motorway, red flashing lights appear above your lane. Only what do you do? Move into another lane in good time, stop and wait for an instruction, continue in that lane and look for further information, pull onto the hard shoulder. I'd get another little lane. I don't know which lane, but get out of my lane. You see this line across the road at the entrance to a roundabout. What does it mean? Stop at the line. You have right of way. Give way to traffic on the right. The traffic from the left has right of way. Give way to traffic on the right. This is the general rule of thumb for roundabouts. What will affect your vehicle's stopping distance? The speed limit, the street lighting, time of day, condition of the tires. All of the above, if I'm honest. Speed, lighting, oh, it's, okay, let's go with speed limit's probably the most important one, because like depending how fast you are is how fast you can slow down. Daytime visibility is poor but not seriously reduced. Which lights should you switch on? Dipped headlights. Front fog lights, rear fog lights, headlights and fog lights. Dipped headlights. You're traveling on the road that has speed bumps. What should you do when the driver in front is traveling more slowly than you? Overtake as soon as you can, flash your headlights, sound your horn and slow down and stay behind. These tests always want you to pick the most like conservative answer, so I'm going to say slow down and stay behind. What should you do when there's been a heavy fall of snow? Drive with the hazard warning lights on, only drive when your journey is short, don't drive unless you have a mobile phone, don't drive unless it's essential. Most conservative answer. What should you do if you park on the road when it's foggy? Leave side lights switched on, leave main beam headlights switched on, leave dipped headlights and fog lights switched on, leave dipped headlights switched on. I think you leave your dipped ones on. When may fog lights be used? When they're fitted above the bumper, when audible warning is used, when they aren't as bright as the headlights, when visibility is seriously reduced. I don't know, I'm guessing that. When driving on a motorway at night, you may switch off your headlights. What? When may you switch your headlights off? When you're traveling, why would you do that? Why would you ever turn it off? When the motorway is lit, when your vehicle is broken down on a hard shoulder, when you're traveling below 50, when the vehicles are close in front of you. I guess when it's lit. The others, I still think it's dangerous, but they all sound dangerous, since they're least dangerous. When fitting chains to the wheels to help prevent brakes locking, damage to the road surface, wear to the tires, skidding in deep snow. I think it's skidding. And brakes locking, but skidding. You're driving down a steep hill. It could be dangerous to keep the clutch down. Oh, my hand. Why could it be dangerous to keep the clutch down or roll in neutral for too long? I don't drive a manual. Shocking. But I can drive a manual, but I don't. My mum taught me, but it was just easier for life if I was an automatic. I don't like making life too hard for myself. But I'm not like a natural manual driver. In a zombie apocalypse, which with coronavirus might be sooner rather than later, I can drive a manual. It will wear the tires out more quickly, it will damage the engine, the vehicle will pick up speed, fuel consumption. Your vehicle will pick up speed. Consumption will be very low because your revs will be off, damage, engine's not even connected because your clutch is in. You'll wear your tires out. I don't see why that would change anything. So I'm imagining it will pick up speed and your brakes won't work because your engine's not connected. See, I do know a little bit. What should you do when you're overtaking at night? Beware of bends in the road ahead, wait until the bend so you can see any oncoming headlights, put your headlights on full beam, sound your horn before moving out. Wait until a bend so that you can see oncoming headlights. And wait until after a bend or before a bend? Because that affects my answer. I say wait until, I assume it's after because otherwise it doesn't make sense. But if that's wrong, I'm not counting it as wrong. When will you feel the effects of the engine braking? When you change to a lower gear, when you're only using the handbrake, when you're in neutral, or when you change to a high gear. So it's low gear, if that's what I think it is. But you also feel it when you're handbraking, but you would never handbrake while driving. How would you identify a section of the road used by trams? There'll be trams on it. No, I'm joking. There'll be metal studs, zigzag markings, a yellow hatch marking around it. It would be a different surface texture. I wouldn't say the different surface, but that's probably not. They probably have the yellow markings. I don't know. I've never done that. What should you do when you meet an oncoming vehicle on a single track road? reverse back to the main road, switch on hazard warning lights, carry out an emergency stop, stop at a passing place. I'd say stop at a passing place, like you just pull over, right? You don't want to reverse back. You're driving down a long steep hill, you suddenly notice that your brakes aren't working as well as normal. What's the cause of this? You're driving down a long steep hill, suddenly notice your brakes aren't working as well as normal. What is the cause of this? Brakes are overheating, air in the brake fluid, oil on the brakes, badly adjusted brakes. I'm not a mechanic. Why is this in the exam? I don't know. I would say brakes are overheating. Can they overheat? I don't know. When may you overtake another vehicle on the left? The vehicle on the front is signaling to turn left. You're gonna have an accident. When approaching a motorway slip road while you'll be turning off. When you're in a one-way street. When the slower vehicle is traveling in the right-hand lane of a dual carriageway. I guess it's real, like the real life answer is the bottom one, but is that the test answer? There's a difference. Approaching the motorway slip road when you're turning off, but you shouldn't be speeding up to turn off, so we'll go down. What should you do when you're making a journey in foggy conditions? Avoid using dipped headlights, keep 2 seconds behind the vehicle ahead, leave plenty of time for your journey, follow the other vehicle's lights closely. Oh, don't know. I thought you put dipped headlights on. Leave plenty of time for your journey, because the rest all seem very dangerous. You should have more than 2 seconds. How can you use a vehicle's engine to control your speed? By changing to a lower gear. I don't want to read those out. I know how gears work. You're driving on an icy road. What distance from the car should you keep? God, it's going to be a guess. I have no idea. 4 times the normal distance, 6 times the normal distance, 8 times, 10 times. 4 times the normal distance seems a lot. What's it supposed to be? 3 seconds, 4, 6, 12 seconds. 6 times the normal distance. Why could it be dangerous to keep the clutch down or select neutral for long periods of time while you're driving? Fuel spillage will occur, you'll have less steering and brake control, you will wear your tires out more quickly, the engine damage may be caused. I think you'll have less steering and brake control because the question is dangerous, the others aren't dangerous. Like they're dangerous but not helpful. The most dangerous answer there is that one. Why should you switch off your rear fog lights when the fog has cleared? To stop the engine losing power, prevent dazzling of following drivers, to stop draining the battery, allow your headlights to work, prevent dazzling fellow drivers. Finished. I was trying to like go that fast because 50 questions is a lot and we have places to be. I get it. 36 of 50, which is not great. What did I get wrong? Keep a good distance from the vehicle ahead. There you go. So that's one of those ones that's like, we're both right, but sure. You shouldn't normally travel on the hard shoulder. When can you use it? When the sign directs you to. I'm surprised that, that's a silly mistake. I should have gotten that. I obviously didn't read that one properly. That's on me. I was rushing the test because of time. Stop and wait. Red flashing the lens, but okay. Well, there you go. Honestly, I would have just copied everyone else, so whatever they did. Towing a trailer on a motorway, what's the speed limit? That was a complete guess. I did not know that. I don't do trailers. They can stop and direct. Yeah, that one's right too. They're both right. Car gets punctured while driving on the motorway. You get onto a hard shoulder. What should you do? Oh, you shouldn't change the wheel yourself. In Australia, you definitely would. So this is good that I'm doing this test. Use signs shown otherwise. What's the national speed limit for a car on a motorway? 70, which makes sense. I'm terrified of speeding, so I always seem to go way slower than everybody else. Always in the left lane, but I'm like, in Australia, you never really go higher than 110 kilometers per hour, which is like 60 miles an hour. So 70 seems very fast to me. So I would never do that naturally. So that makes sense why I was more conservative with that guess. Got all these right. I was on a streak, look at this. Haven't gone wrong for a while. Having tires correctly inflated in good condition will ensure they have maximum grip on the road. I don't remember doing this question. Oh yeah, that one, the condition. I did think that was my next answer, but I was like, they're all the right one. Just which one's the most right? I hate those questions. What should you do if you park on the side of the road when it's foggy? Leave side lights switched on and leave dipped headlights. As long as you're leaving lights on, guys, let's calm down. We're all doing the right thing here. Oh, this is when you should turn your lights off, which I think never is the answer. When your vehicle is broken down on a hard shoulder, I think that's more dangerous because then people can't see you. No, your test is wrong. What should you do when you're overtaking at night? Oh, see, I did say this. That was the one I was like, is it wait until there is a bend or wait till there is after a bend? So that's a bad question, but otherwise I would have put that. I know, that one, yeah, fair play. What's this one? How would you look? Oh, it was the surface texture. I literally was gonna click that. I was like, no, it would be too obvious. Stupid question. When may you take another vehicle on the left? When you're on a one-way street. Oh, I didn't actually. I need to let the question. The point is, I tend not to read the questions. Is what we're learning, because that one obviously makes complete sense. 10 times the normal distance. That's quite far. Once again, was a guess. I'm just super cautious. Okay, very good. So I was about 5 questions behind a pass, which I don't think was too bad considering there was definitely some silly mistakes and they were wrong on some as well. So I'm pretty happy with that considering I haven't actually done any, like, that's just me transferring my own knowledge. But very glad I did it because now I've answered some questions. Like, I've never had all the lights go red on me before. I would just panic and copy what everyone else did. So now I know the right thing to do. So if you would like to know more about the process of getting a license and how to do it when you're an expat, let me know. But if not, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and remember to hit subscribe so I can see you next time.